That's the song Defying Gravity from the hit musical Wicked. And since premiering on Broadway in 2003, the musical Wicked has been seen by 38 million people worldwide, is one of the longest running musicals in history. The reimagining of The Wizard of Oz, which focuses on the story of Glinda, the good and wicked witch of the West, has won 90 individual awards, broken multiple international box office records, and has just landed in Ireland for the first time. Wicked opened at the Bord Gais Energy Theatre last week, and it'll run over the next 7 weeks to an expected Irish audience of 130,000 people. And here to tell us about this global musical phenomenon is Michael McCabe, executive producer of the Wicked UK and Ireland tour. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
The stats are pretty phenomenal for this show.
Yes, when you hear them read like that, it's sort of it's pretty extraordinary, but it has been an incredible success.
Tell me about the genesis of Wicked. Was it a book which became a show and which will, of course, become a movie?
Yes, it was a novel by an American writer called Gregory Maguire, and he was just fascinated by the notion of what if everything you were ever told about a very evil person wasn't true, and the notion of how we're all manipulated by how we feel about people. And he just sort of centred on the Wicked Witch of the West as being one of these great icons of evil, and just simply posed the question, what if everything
what if we all got it wrong?
Yeah, that someone was, for some reason, someone was trying to make us believe that she was bad.
Now, when I said it's kind of a prequel, it's not really, it's a prequel and a contemporaneous unfolding of the events that we know.
Yes, Gregory described it originally as a sort of reimagining of the world of Oz. So it does, our story takes place before, during and after the sort of the famous Wizard of Oz story. So you get to see everything that you know from a different angle.
The show itself, how quickly was it apparent that this was going to be a winner? I mean, from book to stage, what was that process?
I think originally it was going to be developed as a film by Universal Pictures, and they held the rights to the book. And then the film producer, Mark Platt, sort of really took the journey of perhaps this could be a stage musical. And from there it happened pretty quickly. Stephen Schwartz was brought in to write the score. And I think it's, Broadway, which predates me, although I was lucky to see a preview of it there. In London, certainly, I've been involved in it now for sort of almost 9 years of work. And from our very first performance, it was very obvious something quite extraordinary was happening in terms of audience reaction.
Now, if you could do it to a formula, loads of people will be doing it all the time. You never really know. As with the Spider-Man, you just don't know until it happens.
No, you sort of somewhat take your life in your hands. We all live and live or die by audience reactions to our shows, and something about Wicked has touched a nerve in the public. And so we've achieved the stats that you've said.
The score is not the easiest score. I mean, it's not like Mamma Mia, with which you were also involved, where we all already know the songs and they have a pop music quality to them.
Yes.
Defying Gravity, that song I just played there, is a more demanding song.
I think it's the songs are very much storytelling songs in that they are telling you absolutely part of the story, as opposed to it's pause for a nice song here. So I think the score is incredible, and the great thing about it is that people that don't necessarily love musicals really seem to get a kick out of Wicked, and the songs deliver a very big emotional impact.
How many versions of Wicked are around the world at the moment?
There are currently 9 productions running simultaneously. And so I'm proud to be involved in 2 of those as we continue in London. We're now in our 8th year there, and the tour has just begun, and this is a fantastic version of the show.
What kind of challenges do you face bringing this onto the road? I saw it in Broadway, and the theatre was permanently got up in its Wicked gear because they knew it was going to run and run and run and run. When you're touring, obviously you've got to have a set that is not necessarily, cannot be permanent by definition, but it's got to be...
Yes, it's got to fit in trucks and crates, and but we have a a global family, as it were, and Wicked is a global brand. So you have to deliver the very, very best version of the show that you can. It's been 2 years in planning, and a lot of work by a lot of people. The set was built in the US and Canada, and then flown in, and it's been a huge undertaking. But what you see on stage is pretty much an absolute carbon copy of the original.
There's a huge appetite for Wicked in Dublin because many people have gone to London specifically to see Wicked. The theatre in which it is now housed, the Bord Gais Energy Theatre, BGE Theatre, we couldn't have Wicked if we didn't have it.
No, I mean, it's an extraordinary facility. I have to say our entire cast is going to be incredibly spoilt. They've all asked if we could just stay here in Dublin, but we do have to go to other places. But it is an amazing theatre, and it was a great theatre for us to do our first move to, because the technical facilities are so fantastic. But as an auditorium, the show fits in there so beautifully, and audiences have been incredible
so far, because the formal opening is tonight, but it's already been playing to packed houses.
We started last week, and you never quite know what to expect, but they seem to be enormously engaged in the story. But the reaction at the end is just really took us all by huge surprise. It's very warm and credible.
Now, the other things you've been involved in, I mentioned Mamma Mia, but you've had an involvement in a huge number of productions on the West End.
Yes. I just celebrated actually 30 years of working in London's glittering West End. So, but the Wicked chapter for me has been really extraordinary, and it's a show I passionately loved before I ever knew that I would have an involvement. And so it's been a great, great journey to get to this point. And
some more of the stats from the show. I mean, 351 pairs of shoes or something like that.
Yes. It's a huge, the design of it, both costumes and set, are extraordinary, but you are creating a magical world, and there is obviously an expectation as to what the costumes in Emerald City will look like, and so you have to deliver on that audience expectation.
How big is the cast and crew?
We have over 30. There are actually over 80 people working on the tour in total. So we're moving 80 people around, which is no mean feat. And
you've got to accommodate them and all the rest. What about cast and crew fatigue when you're doing something like this? I mean, it's been on the West End for how many years now?
We're in our 8th year.
8 years.
Yeah.
So I presume there is a rate of attrition that people say, I'm just browned off.
Yes, I mean, we have regular cast changes, which keeps the energy very fresh. I think the great thing about touring is that you do get a break between each venue, and it gives everyone a chance to sort of relax and recharge, and then you get all the excitement of being in a brand new city, and with this engagement, a new country.
Now, you run until the 18th of January. Where after that? I mean, and how much of a break will you all have?
We then get 2 weeks off, and then we're into Milton Keynes and Cardiff, and then we roll on till 2015. So it's a lot of dates.
And your life is unfolding before you.
It is indeed.
Preordained fashion. Well, look, thank you very much, Michael, for coming in. Michael McCabe is executive producer of the Wicked UK and Ireland tour. It opened last week at BGE for an 8-week run and concludes on Saturday the 18th. Tickets available from Ticketmaster. And Michael, thank you very much for joining us in studio this morning.
Thank you.